You're watching Georgia Alert. I'm Becca, and today I'm with Marika and Tini. We're going to be talking about Georgian news, the recent events that have been unfolding in Georgia recently. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for having us here.
We will start with the highlight of the week. During this week, it has been a hot week for Georgia. The Russian law has been adopted. The presidential veto on the Russian law was overridden on May 28th. President Zurabishvili offered all opposition parties to sign the Georgian charter that she just presented on the Independence Day on 26th of May. It is essentially a pledge to launch fundamental reforms to adapt to the requirements of EU membership, including but not limited to fundamental overhaul of the judiciary and police system, to repel all undemocratic laws, including the Russian law, the Georgian agents law. Also, it is a pledge to hold snap elections as soon as the main reforms are launched, so that the public can choose and vote for the parties under normal circumstances without terror. It has included an implication that the cabinet, the government members should be appointed by the president herself. The Georgian charter basically is a roadmap on what to do next and a key process in putting Georgia back within the constitutional frame. The ceremony of signing of the charter by the pro-Western parties of Georgia has happened today. Initially, there were 9 opposition parties who agreed to sign the document, but today 16 opposition parties have successfully signed this document, and Georgian President Zurabishvili called for full mobilization of Georgians living abroad for the October parliamentary elections, a crucial vote that she recently dubbed a referendum on the country's future. So Georgians are preparing for the October 26th elections. And this has been the main event this week in Georgia. How do you ladies see this Georgian charter?
I think all of us Georgians really didn't believe in our president Zurabishvili before the Russian law thing started. And now she is the only one in this whole opposition who is like the leader of our pro-Western values. So I believe that this was a huge step, and I see that presidential institution really works for the first time in Georgian history. And I believe that this was a very good step for other opposition parties, because in Georgian opposition it's very hard for opposition members to somehow like have an agreement or like whatever, even for one topic to have some kind of agreement. So when Zurabishvili plays a role in it, now other opposition members, they automatically become part of this union, which is not like union, but they have some kind of understanding what they are gonna do together in the next parliament. So I think that it's very important for Georgian opposition parties, and I think Salome Zurabishvili is doing a very good job in this point. However, like, it was very sad that 2 of the not major parties, but we believe that they were Western parties, they haven't signed the charter yet, and I don't think they're gonna sign it. It is Kakharia and Girchi, which is in the parliament for now. So I think that it was a very good step for Georgian oppositions, and now they will have some kind of understanding what they're agreeing on and what they're disagreeing on. Since this charter is based on EU candidate status and 16? No, I mean like 9
yes,
points that were given by EU. These all of those things are included in Georgian charter. So I think it's very important for Georgian opposition to start working from this charter. This is like very base thing. What will happen next year? I think that the most important thing here is also that it's what she introduced, it's not just like for everything. She said that it will happen for 1 year because we know that we're in a very bad political situation, and after that every political party will have their own choice or whatever they want to promote for the elections, and we'll have another elections after this charter, and that is very good for me.
Yes, this charter serves as a tool to depolarize and de-escalate the situation, the political situation that has been going on for this couple of weeks. How do you see our president, Madam President's Georgian charter and the response of the opposition? The overwhelming majority has signed this charter already today. So
I actually didn't know that we had 16 parties, like 16 parties who are like pro-Western and they're vocal about their pro-Western values, and that's good.
Yes, as Tini said, I have been quite a big critic of the president, and I didn't expect her to step up the way she did, and I'm extremely grateful that she's on the right side of the history at the right time. In a way, we are very lucky to have her, because there could have been someone else in her position right now. And first, she cornered the government, the Georgian Dream, with the veto that she put on the law, because she could have put the veto with some comments, which would have enabled the Georgian Dream to amend the law and to like trick the population and trick Western partners into like thinking that they still have some democratic credentials or something. But she really made the Georgian Dream either backtrack or go fully hardcore and face all the consequences alone themselves. And then it seems like she also cornered the opposition because yes, of course, I believe that the vast majority of opposition has like thinks about the country and the country's interests, but still it was hard for the opposition to sit down together and to agree on everything, on every individual point, because all of them are equals. And suddenly the president gives them the platform that is given in a way from above, and she is an umbrella, and her involvement facilitates the dialogue between the opposition easier and faster, and we don't have any time to lose. So I'm not necessarily saying that the opposition wouldn't have come to agreement without the charter, but definitely wouldn't have been as easy and fast. So this saves us precious time, and who knows, maybe it's even more vital than we imagine now. So I think soon, like maybe years later, we will understand the real value of this charter. Yes, and it's also important to understand how the Georgian population saw this charter, because everyone around me was so happy, and the people who are usually apolitical and beyond politics, and those who are known as middle people in the Georgian, like middle ground, so neither necessarily hardcore opposition nor GD, they were the ones very happy about the charter, and they saw it as a roadmap and as a way out, and they were very hopeful when it was announced, which means that it has a huge resonance in the population, and it is in a way seen as a test by the population. Whoever signs it, they can be trusted, more or less, and whoever does not sign it, there are even more questions towards them. So I don't know why Girchi and Gaharia's for Georgia party would do it to themselves in the first place, that they wouldn't sign it. So I suppose we will also have answers to that in a few years' time.
Thank you, Marika. Thank you, Tini. We are certainly watching a rare historic event unfold in Georgian reality, where president is playing her role to de-escalate the situation between the opposed parties, the majority, the minority, the opposition, the people, and this might be a very important key moment in Georgian history, where we need this de-escalation of politics at the moment. And also this has been a major point in the EU recommendation that we should de-escalate the situation and put everything back into the constitutional frame. She is the last elected president of Georgia. After this, by the current constitution, the president will appoint the new president. The parliament will appoint the new president, but she has, in the end, pulled through for Georgians, I think, and let's see how this Georgian charter will move forward from this time on.
She definitely won lots of people's hearts for the last couple of months, so that's very good.
Most of the parties, as you mentioned, they are opposed to each other. They could not speak to each other before these events, and now they're in a room together, they're signing one document, so this could be a beginning of something new and great for Georgia. And let's see, 16 opposition members, 16 parties, it's the majority of Georgian politics, so when they agree on something, it's worth to pass this message along to the international community, and we are glad to speak about this news.
Yeah. And even though there is one of the most important thing from this charter is that she does not she didn't want any kind of election unity. It was just based on the ideas and ideologies and what we are going to do next. So that was most effective form from her. That now opposition members have some kind of basic steps. They know what they're gonna do. So it's very good that she didn't say that you guys need to be together, you guys need to be, it's up to you, whatever you are gonna do. And now for opposition parties, it's even easier what we're talking about. It's even easier that now they know with whom they can have some kind of unity with. Because if they didn't sign the Georgian charter, they're we know that we don't need to talk to them because they don't agree on these basic values that we want.
Yeah, and also the principles inside, which is about reforms, and then about snap elections, which is backed by the population, because the population understands that these elections are not normal elections, it's elections under terror, and parties will not be represented normally, and we need elections soon after fast, because anyone elected now, it's hard for them to have a 4-year-long mandate because, it's not normal elections, and the parliament elected will not be fully representative. So when Tini mentioned that it's good that the president didn't put the technical unity and didn't go into details of the opposition's work and homework, it's, yes, in a way good, because now it's really hard to refuse to sign the charter. And the principles there are so basic and so easy and backed by entire population that when you do refuse to sign it, it does many questions emerge because of it, and you cannot justify it by saying that you do not want to stand together with UNM because it's a losing strategy or something similar. It's very basic, and thus not agreeing on it.
Sure.
It's yes.
The heart of this Georgian charter is that we agree that we want to move towards West and also to repel this Russian law, this foreign agents law, and everybody agrees around this. Other points might be debatable, but this is the heart of this document. Let's move on to the next event. Strategic nuclear deep sea port partnered with a Chinese company which is 36 kilometers away from Russia's planned Ochanchira naval base in occupied Abkhazia. Just as the presidential veto on the Russian law was overridden on May 28th, China's visa waiver for Georgian citizens came into force as well. The next day, on May 29th, it was announced that the Georgian Dream chose a Chinese Singaporean company to be the partner of the embattled Anaklia deep sea port project. Its competitor was a Swiss Luxembourgish company. It is noteworthy that just 36 kilometers away from Anaklia, Russia is planning on building a naval base in the occupied territory. So this also underlines their choice who they want to partner up with. Rather than choosing Western partners, they chose the Chinese Singaporean company. And this raises further questions where the loyalty lies. This project, Anaklia project, has been a key project for Georgia to develop the deep Sea port, but it has been on hold. And now, hopefully, at least it might start to move along, this project. But yeah, who is going to be in charge of this project is questionable, to say the least.
Yes, if I may add,
Sure.
if I'm not interrupting. Yeah, so it's not a coincidence that the Anaklia deep sea port partnering with the Chinese was announced the day after the Russian law was adopted. And like several years ago, Mike Pompeo, he warned Georgia government of not giving in to the influences of Russia and China, specifically in terms of the Anaklia deep sea port. And that's exactly what they're doing. Anaklia is very strategic, not just to Georgia, but also to the entire middle corridor, the east-west corridor that runs through Georgia and Azerbaijan and Central Asia. But particularly for the Black Sea security, it's very important because, like, had Anaklia been already constructed and had the Georgian Dream not undermined it for years, there would have already been Western cargo and Western interests in the eastern part of the Black Sea, and maybe like in terms of Georgian national security, I'm speaking, maybe the West would have had even tougher reaction on Russia's planned construction of naval base in occupied Abkhazia or Chamchira, because like when the Western companies and port owned by Westerners essentially is right there, a few kilometers away, it's different. But right now there's nothing, and when there will be something, it will be Chinese owned. So what the Georgian Dream did is that they undermined a Western strategic interest, which in Georgia is similar to Georgia's national interests. Like Georgia's national interests are inherently tied with the West, right? My friends used to say, especially like other nationalities, that Georgians have a very dichotomic understanding of the world, like either Russia or the West. But that is what the Georgian experience is. When there's a power vacuum in Georgia, and if there's an aspect that the West does not feel in Georgia, that is automatically filled by Russia, whether you want it or not. So that's the choice. It's either West or Russia. So the Georgian Dream gave it on a plate to Russia, the entire eastern Black Sea, from Anaklia and Ochamchire to everything. So they're very consciously advancing Russian-Chinese interests in the eastern Black Sea, undermining the Black Sea security, and also the independence of the middle corridor from Russia and China. And that's a huge problem. And by the way, Mamuka Khazaradze, the founder of the TBC Bank, now the leader of Lelo for Georgia party, he recalls that Bidzina Ivanishvili himself personally told him, "Oh, what have the Americans lost in the Black Sea?" Yeah. So that's we see that that's actually happening. The implementation of Bidzina Ivanishvili's vision of what Georgia should be, right? So yes.
Thank you.
Maybe we move to the next topic.
Sure. Let's move on to U.S. sanctions, the reactions to all of this. On May 23rd, Secretary of State Blinken announced a visa restriction policy for undermining Georgia's democracy, and as well as comprehensive review of all U.S.-Georgia cooperation. Restrictions include individuals responsible for suppressing civil society and freedom of peaceful assembly in Georgia through violence or intimidation. On May 24th, the Political Council of ruling Georgian Dream Party issued a statement in response to the announcement by the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken of a visa restriction policy against Georgian officials for the Foreign Agents Law. The GD calls it a blatant attempt to limit Georgia's independence and sovereignty, which is especially cynical ahead of country's upcoming Independence Day on May 26th. The ruling party also argues that the spread of sanctions to family members is a fascist Bolshevik phenomenon. And this was especially funny that some of the Georgian Dream members, they said they did not like this kind of democracy. Their parliament member Mamuka Dinaradze, also bravely tried to defend his party members to sanction only him and not his team members. And
he takes a lot of hits.
In this regard, we had very crazy comments from the GD members. It was all crazy. Today, Kahkaladze said that even though the U.S. said that they were going to sanction them, today Kahkaladze said that they are not going to do anything. So I don't know if they're in belief that it will not happen. I don't know. I'm sure that they know that it will happen. Or is it that they are trying to talk to their voters that it's okay, everything is good. And some of them are saying that if we get sanctioned by the USA, it means that we did something good for our country. So GD openly, like before last year, they didn't do this kind of rude comments against the US and EU. It was more like they made their point, but they were not so harsh. But this year, they don't care. They just say how US and West is not their megabody, which US said, and that they're
Friend.
and that they're not our friends, and they're trying to do something bad in Georgia, which is war. So.
Yeah. If I may add a point, so first point is that we hear rumors. The Georgian Dream tells their enablers that once Trump becomes president, they will lift sanctions. So they have to just withstand a few months under sanctions, and then everything will be okay.
Oh, that's what they're saying, like to each other?
Yes.
Oh.
That's what the top tells the down to keep them going in the spirits. Yeah. And another issue, I just want to communicate this. It's very important to target travel bans to family members, because that's what hits them really hard. The family members thing. A Georgian Dream, like I hear a lot of people saying that sanctions never make authoritarians collapse, but in Georgia's case, things are a little different, because lots of GD enablers, they're situational allies, and they're there for the comfort and the benefits and all of that the governance brings, and they're not necessarily like unconditionally ideologically loyal to the regime, even the police. So it is possible to crack them with pressure, with the loss of social status, and this.
Yeah, and we've seen the example of it. Irakli Shotadze, which was actually deputy finance minister before Blinken announced
that he was prosecutor general.
Oh, prosecutor general.
Yeah.
Before we had two cases then.
Yes, we had two cases.
We had two cases.
Mirza Gelashvili was
yeah.
Although I hear Mirza resigned before, so Shotadze applies better to
yeah,
the
so
sanctions,
before
yes.
Blinken made an announcement, I guess he left the country, Shotadze.
Yes.
He left to the USA, and he made a statement. So it really does work. Not probably not for Irakli Kobakhidze, prime minister and top members, but as the normal GD member, they really do care, because we know that they had not marriages, but they took their wives to EU and USA to have children with the citizenship of the West.
Yes.
So all of their sons and daughters study in the USA. So for example, Garibashvili, he did a special thing when he took his son to the USA with taxpayers' money. But I don't know what their children's thoughts are. Like, what do they think? They might get restrictions, and they might have to come back to Georgia to study, to continue study. So I think that it's really important from the EU and from the US to make this kind of restrictions.
Yeah, and if I may add, so I hear that the EU doesn't want divisions inside the alliance, so they don't want to sideline Hungary, but it's very important that they sideline Hungary if needed, because if Georgians fail in these protests, despite all the unprecedented process and all the unprecedented support that we got from the West right now, because the legislative acts and sanctions is the first time we have this, right? If we fail, this law is coming in many European countries. The Western Balkans, they're already on their way to adopt the law. It was discussed in Serbia, it's discussed in Republika Srpska inside Bosnia, it's in Slovakia, Hungary. So Russia is looking for Georgia as a test ground. And if Georgia fails, despite all the unprecedented protests, then nothing will stop this law from spreading in other vulnerable states inside Europe. So So just to like keep Europe safe, not even about Georgia, Europe needs to sideline Hungary and impose sanctions individually as states if need be. Yeah.
To add on top of that, this is just the beginning. These visa restrictions, the travel restrictions are the first step of the sanctions. This has been the experience with Russian sanctioned list of people. Also, it's funny that this our GD party calls the West the global war party, and yet they choose to send their children to receive education in the West, in US, in EU. They choose to take their family for vacations there. They choose to go on shopping sprees there.
Style.
Yes, but on the other hand, they are the global war party, and yes, but of course it's natural because US and the EU are not members to any particular group of people or parties in Georgia. They are friendly towards the Georgian democracy. It is the democracy that is now under threat by the ruling party who has been in power for 12 years. And that's what the reality is, that the West is telling the leadership that it's been too long. In order for democracy to work, there must be some kind of discourse. The opposition must be given a voice, and the changing dynamics is natural for democracy. This is not the way to go about in one party to rule the country for so long, and that's why they are announcing the West as the enemy or as the global war party. This is the reason, and not they don't believe in this. I don't know, fairy tales. I think this is, also to add on top of this, in a joint statement issued on May 24th, the Megabari Act was announced in the US, preparing Georgia's People's Act in Senate, and Megabari means friend in Georgian. In the House of Representatives, the French National Assembly also adopted a resolution in support of the Georgian people, strongly urging the foreign agents law to be repealed. After prosecutor, the Shatadze was resigned after these events, and he left for US.
Yes.
Basically, the foreign international community is supporting Georgian democracy and Georgian people, and this has been done through actions, and we are looking forward to these acts and these sanctions take full effect.
Okay. Now I think we should go onto like Georgian side, what we're doing here, what is going on in opposition parties and in civil organizations. So, as we know, for now, Georgian civil organizations, they issued a statement that they're not going to obey this law, so they're not going to register. I personally think that they should have some kind of loopholes that they find in this thing, and maybe somehow they will continue working, but in different kind of loopholes. I think there might be some areas where they continue working. As they are saying, NGOs said that they will continue to work for these elections. We don't know actually when the law starts implementing.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I thought it was 2 months after.
I think, I'm actually not sure, but I think in 2 months it is the part where it also extends to individuals. The part that they secretly put before.
So tomorrow
it's all. So for organizations, I think it's
the
tomorrow.
effective date will
That's
be
what
tomorrow.
Papuashvili said today, but like who knows what they mean and what.
So the organizations are not going. They're announcing disobedience, and other than that, there's still ongoing threats against Georgian opposition members and activists. We've seen a couple of days ago, yesterday we saw one of the opposition members, Tsotnek Oberidze, was attacked by his home at the bus stop.
And
Marian Sijanava also.
Baby daughter,
So just yesterday we had 2 cases. So Georgian government and actually one of the Georgian government members, Georgian parliament members, Dito Samkharadze, he kind of like posted the whole context of it, and he kind of took took the initiative that he's planning all of this, because he had like a huge post how they're planning it, where they've been, what kind of opposition parties have been targeted by these groups, titushkis. So we think that it's not regular people who are threatening opposition members and activists. It's the whole organized campaign by Georgian Dream, and especially by some of the Georgian Dream parliament members who have organized all of this. So personally, all of us from different parties and different TV medias and activists and groups, they've been called by unknown people, and they have been threatened that they will get, there even have been death threats. Some of them got the death threats, and it's not just those people. They call their parents, they call their children, and literally everyone. So when the Georgian government says that US should not sanction their family members, they don't take into account that even though those opposition members are very active against the Russian law, their family members should not be should not get calls, but they don't care about that. So it's not just normal people; it's everyone who's actively saying, who's actively protesting Russian law. We've had. I'm going to add one more thing, and we had one case. And it's not just one case. Georgian people kind of started a challenge with Georgian Dream. Whenever Georgian people see Georgian Dream member in the streets, they go to them, they start live video or just videotaping it, and they tell them what they think about this Russian law. So this is kind of like Georgian people's campaign against the Russian law, and we've encountered quite a few cases of that. One of them was Vitali Guguchia, who had a market near the parliament, where one of the parliament members was passing through when he was going home after adopting a Russian law. And during this time, one of the citizens went to him and started recording, and that's when he got angry. He got out of the car, he grabbed one of the oranges that he saw, and he just threw it. So this orange was Vitali Guguchia's, who had a market near Parliament, and the next day Georgian Dream Parliament member went to him and started apologizing for grabbing the orange, and that's when Vitali Guguchia started talking, and he never stopped. He explained very well why this Russian law was Russian, and even other parliament opposition members and other opposition members have not explained this very well. So Vitali he had like 1 million viewers from this video, yeah, because his explanation was very normal, and it was like everyone could understand it very well. So this is some kind of challenge that I really like, that now Georgian Dream members cannot walk in the streets without like people's comments, and they cannot live how they lived 1 year ago, because now they're clearly pro-Russian.
Yes, definitely. And in Vitali Guguchia's response, it was like, "Oh, don't mind the orange. You took the future away from my 4 children." That was really cool. And I just wanted to add about the violence. So even violence has norms in culture, right? Some things are more accepted than others, are like straight out outrageous for cultures. In Georgian culture, touching family members and like women and the elderly is like off topic. And they are purposefully targeting our family members, especially like the women of the family and the elderly, to sow panic for us and to remove all sense of security we might have. For example, if in normal circumstances, even under a bad government, I wouldn't worry about my grandma, who is 84, let's say. Right now, I know that they don't have any limits and red lines, so they make me, not me, but everyone, I mean, like everyone, they make us afraid for everything that we would otherwise have been calmer about. So yeah, that's the thing. And then they staged attack on Vitali Goguchia and had it recorded on television, and now he's prosecuted for obstructing television's work.
Yeah, of course he would be like punished somehow because he spoke up. And I want to continue on that and add that it's not just like these kind of cases, which is like these kind of people who go to people's houses and attack people. They have masks, so we don't know who they are. But it's not just that. Our government said very clearly, especially Khareba, admitted very clearly that he's going to punish everyone. So for our viewers, Khareba, which is Riyad Kharazishvili, he's the head of Special Task Department of Ministry of Internal Affairs. So he should be the person who is responsible for people's safety and protesters' safety, but he's the one who he didn't even fear. He just came out to the television and he said that he has he has the list where he has all of the people who needs to be beaten up during the protests. So it's not just like normal kind of violence. It's state-claimed violence, which is what Georgian Dream is conducting.
Yeah, and then the Prime Minister Gobakhidze said that, oh, the statement from Khareba was just irony. What's the problem?
I think we have moved on from the legal and constitutional framework. It has been like this for more than a month since this whole Russian law was reenacted again. It has started after that people were getting called and they were threatened why they stand against this law, why they protest this. They were very clear about why they were doing this, and the violence that is being going on in the streets every day, it has been done with a political intent. And this was against the law even in the Roman Republic. Like, even in barbaric times, people understood that you should not beat up the opposition members who do not like your policies. This is why a parliament exists, where there should be debates, the laws, legislation should be debated, but we also saw how this legislation passed. They did not allow any debate. They just decided on it, and they threw out of the room the opposition members who protested this legislation, who had any say against it. So they don't want to hear another side. They just set on following this down this road. So people understand.
It was a coup visually and contextually. It violates our constitution, Article 78, that says that all authorities should do everything possible to advance European and Euro-Atlantic integration, and it violates the constitution. It also the form. They adopted the law with the help of the masked men inside the parliament, crackdowns outside of the parliament, and like expelling opposition members from chambers. So the government has violated the constitution, and CSOs, they will be submitting the case to the constitutional court, and then if and when the constitutional court fails, because we know that it's unfortunately pocketed by the Georgian Dream, then in this case will be sent to the European Court of Human Rights.
It's I will add on top of that Georgian democracy is trying to fight by any means, by legal means, by the support of international community, and at this moment the civil society organizations are trying to challenge this law in the constitutional court, but they can only challenge it based on the human rights chapter, the second chapter of rights. Also, the role of president comes here as well, because she's also promised that she's going to challenge this law as well, but she can challenge it based on the 78th article of the Constitution, which is about the responsibility of the government to lead us in the EU and NATO alliance, and they have been doing everything against the function and this responsibility. So we have two merits that this law will be challenged in the Constitutional Court. Let's see how this legal battle will unfold. But the story of Georgian democracy, if we are victorious in this legal battle, but certainly the people know where everyone stands. And today, these 16 opposition members that have signed this document, they certainly say that they're firmly decided on moving towards the West, and we don't want to move to the past where Georgia has been dealing with Russia. And I don't know, what do you guys think about legal steps?
I believe that going into the details of the Russian law will not lead us anywhere, because it's not about what is written there, it's about the whole context. So even though they're going to take it to the Europe civil societies, I believe that we need to be more focusing on the whole context of this law rather than what's written there, because what's written there might be like it might look very good on the paper, and it's not that what it looks on the paper, it's the whole context in it. So it's not just in Georgian court. I don't have any trust in, but in Europe maybe. But since we started about courts, let me just add one more news, because I think it's very important. It's about former Supreme Court judge who speaks of death threats to rule in Ivanishvili's favor. So it's not a new case. It's a case from 2-3 years ago, maybe. It's a Rustaviori case.
Even 5 years.
It's a long time ago. But since he started talking now, it's very good, because it means that he has been bothered. So Bessarion Alvaidze is the former Supreme Court judge, and he says that he was threatened with having his brain smashed if he did not rule in the Rustaviori case. And we all knew that the court has a clan and how it's ruled, but we didn't have any cases to prove it. So it was the first time that judge proved us that the court is ruled by the clan, who is Bidzina Ivanishvili.
It is important that the judges and the officials speak up themselves. Also, the opposition members have been asking the ruling party members to change their stance on this law and to resign and to join their ranks, the opposition. And we have seen certain leaders resign from the office, and let's see how this trend develops, and hopefully, yes, some of the ruling party members will decide to leave.
Yeah. I'll just add one thing. So OSCE also said that this law is incompatible with international human rights standards, and the Secretary General of Council of Europe, she said that this negatively affects the pre-election environment for fair and free elections. So one key point is that the Georgian dream should be put under a big magnifying glass months before elections to expose their intimidation, pressure, and vote buying. And another, if the Georgian dream still rigs the elections, and if they're not broken as a system before elections, they definitely will rig elections. I hope that we can believe in our Western partners that they will not legitimize elections for the Georgian dream, because then that will cause really bad trends within Georgia. There will be people who will be saying that, oh, the opposition is protesting because they didn't win and now they want revolution. Yeah. You see that the West said that it's legitimate, right? So
yeah.
They shouldn't have that arguments. So I hope the West will stand with the people of Georgia. So I hear that sometimes, some say that it's problematic to expose the legitimacy of elections in a EU candidate country, because then it poses threats for continued European integration. But even with good considerations for the people of Georgia, if the elections are rigged, it should not be legitimized for them, because there might not be any Georgia left to proceed with European integration. In that case.
I'm still hopeful that the situation will unfold in a better light.
Definitely, I'm very optimistic.
Things
overall,
will change for the better, and this Georgian charter also serves for that. And today the opposition agreed on the change, and the entire country is ready for the change towards a better future, towards stabilizing the situation and moving on to democracy, to build our country and take it further. This has been the current hot topics in Georgia this week.
Let's finish on a hopeful note.
Yes,
Definitely.
we will continue with Georgian Alert next week. Thank you, Marika. Thank you, Tini.
Thank you,
Becca.
Becca.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting Georgia.